Okay, so we know it may just be the longest celebrity divorce saga ever. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are now taking their custody battle to court. They separated back in 2016 after 2 years of marriage. Angelina Jolie is fighting for sole custody of their 6 kids, and the trial is set to begin next month. Let's discuss now. Joining me now, divorce attorney Jacqueline Newman. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Does it surprise you this has been going on for so long, or is it typical that when you have maybe a lot of assets and a lot of children that divorce battles take this long?
Divorce battles do take this long, especially when you're dealing with custody, because with custody, it's completely subjective. So it's one of those things where, everybody's going to have different opinions on what's best for these children. So it takes a long time to get there. So it's not surprising at all that this is still continuing.
Okay, when you say subjective, then what is taken into consideration? So if Angelina Jolie argues that she needs sole custody of the children, what does that entail?
So if she wants sole custody, well, Brad would still have access. She's going to want to make major decisions in regard to these children, and she's going to want the majority of the time. So that would be really what her definition of sole custody would be.
Now, but that also means that the children will live under her roof, correct? But does that mean they can also still, there's some nuances here that people just may not be privy to. What are those?
Right, so they would live under her roof, but not, primarily they would. But that does not mean that they wouldn't be spending time with their father. They would still be spending weekends with him, but it wouldn't be a 50-50 split. So that's really one of the major issues that is being discussed.
Do you find it unusual that she wants sole custody, or do you see that typically? Because if Brad wants joint custody, why wouldn't they just say joint custody and she could still live at the house? Couldn't that get worked out?
It could get worked out. Ultimately, she wants to make major decisions in regards to the children, and so I think he probably says, no, I want to be making decisions as well, and I want to be an involved father. And then it is just an issue of where the children reside. So if he wants them to be residing with him 50% of the time, and she's saying that's not in the best interest of the children, I want them with me most of the time, that's what they're fighting about.
The fact that they're two such high-profile people, how much does that complicate the situation, or does it not at all? Is it just always complicated?
I think it's always complicated, but that said, they are doing this in the public eye, and the problem is that everyone is knowing what's going on, and they want to protect their children. That's one of the reasons that they're going to be working with somebody who's a private judge, and my guess is that they will ultimately settle this case. Okay,
is there a timeline? We've been talking about 2 years. I'm looking for a timeline and a cost. Mostly because I want to know how much longer we're going to be talking about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, but also because, it's interesting, and we also want to know how much something like this costs.
It depends. So if they work with the private judge, they'll pay the private judge the person's hourly rate, which, could be, I'm taking a complete guess here, could be something $700, $1,000 an hour, something like that. And as for timing, it's going to take them as long as it takes to settle it, but they do understand that they have this court date set. So my guess is that they'll probably be settling before the court date happens.
All right, fascinating. Jacqueline Newman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.